Welcome to off-season 3 for the Rapid City Stegos. And man, there are a lot of things to get to. Let's start with congratulating Rapid City on winning the MAC again and making their first ever CFP, which no doubt led to the extension for Joey Galloway after he won AP Coach of the Year this season. Now with that success comes some conference realignment as Rapid City moves to the Big, and so does a lesser-known school looking to make waves, the Fargo University Asteroids. A little drama in the news recently as their coach Tim Biaka-Batuka had this to say about Rapid City. A lot of talk about their success, but all I see is a team losing in the CFP and not even keeping it close. Must be that Buckeye blood at the top. Can't finish. Galloway was not happy about this, responding with a line he stole from Jimmy earlier in the season. Am I supposed to care about what a cat beaver says? We're focused on winning games, not running our mouths. Woo! Gotta love a little trash talk between these two natural rivals who are located just 500 miles apart. We'll have more on the Asteroids during the season, but for now, let's see what other coaches were up to around the nation. A bit quieter this time around with big-name schools, but guess what? Once again, Rapid City loses a coordinator. This time, Barry Lenny Jr. is hired away by Texas State to become their new head coach as they lost Josh Gaddis to UNLV. Once again, Rapid City would have to search for new blood on the offense. Cue up recently fired head coach Jim McElwain. This guy just went 3-9 with the Chippewas, and one of those losses was a 42-21 whooping from Rapid City. He'll be looking for redemption as he tries to get McLaurin to be more accurate in that offense. Now, one more interesting team here is Clemson, who just won the national title, and they pretty much destroyed everybody. They had to replace both coordinators, so we'll see if that affects their team at all this year. Now we'll take a look at who's leaving Rapid City, but first, let's run through some records as Michael McCormick, the 6'5 giant corner, sets a new school record for career interceptions, surpassing Burns. Anthony McLaurin breaks his own school record for passing yards in a season and extends his career record with the school. He did the same thing with season and career passing touchdowns. Now, Charlie Hall, pretty similar, extends his own school records for receptions and yards in a career, and Cameron Laybourne takes Charlie's record for touchdowns in a season. Little in-school rivalry there. Touchdowns in a career, on the other hand, still belongs to Charlie Hall. Now, it's time to say goodbye to some favorites. We didn't have the transfer Booker very long, but sad to see him go. I mean, we really didn't take advantage of his skills because of the bad blocking, of course, but he leaves as one of the highest rated guys on the team. Ditto for Kyler Lang, who made some huge sacks in his career. Perhaps a huge hole in the defense opens up as both safeties in Marcus Fuqua and award winner Brent Joseph graduate. Deshaun Folsom and George Wololo. We lose on the defensive line, and man, Alonzo Petty. This guy, man, the clutch gene. He will be sorely missed. Sucks to see him go. And finally, we'll mention Tyler Stevens, the big tight end. He's the reason the Stegos have a CFP win under their belt. He also graduates. Actually, everyone graduates. No one gets drafted again. A little disappointing, but with some of the hardware that this group collected, it's kind of disappointing. I guess they're all just overachievers. All right, how about a transfer? Or 2? Or 4? No one jumps Rapid City's ship, but 4 people are looking to board it, starting with Jordan Tolles. The 6'2 free safety leaves LSU and fills the hole left by Marcus Fuqua. Huge addition. Next up, Javion Posey. The wide receiver comes from FAU and brings with him some serious agility and acceleration. He'll need to work on those hands though, they are rocks. And hey, let's fill another hole. A big one. Deshaun Folsom, he left, but guess what? We got Courtney Johnson coming over from UCLA. And this freshman has the upside to become Rapid City's first NFL prospect if someone else doesn't get there first. He's got the moves to give the Stegos some chaos in the middle that they have been lacking. Now finally, let's talk sophomore corner Tyrell Preston out of Baylor. 4.4 speed, unreal zone coverage ability. Like, real good, but not great in man. So work to do there. But overall, a solid group of transfers for Rapid City that really plug up some holes that they had. Now, as we talk about new guys coming to the team, let's see who else is coming as we head to signing day. Rapid City came into signing day with the 3rd best class in the nation, pulling in 9 4-star guys. Now, with plenty of scholarships left, the Stegos had 4 main targets, just 4. Darrell Bullock, a highly rated 3-star JUCO defensive end, Jordan Carter, an athlete out of Florida, Riley Bills, a speedy running back out of Florida, and Ian Vaughn, a kicker. Yes, a kicker. As Stegos' current guy just struggled to kick one past 40 with the wind at his back. So, we got some good news and we got some bad news. Jordan Carter and Ian Vaughn said, we're going to call it quits and become school teachers. you know, that's what we're going to do. But the good news here is that Rapid City gets the speedy running back in Riley Bills and the big old defensive end Darrell Bullock, both over Ohio State. Good to beat the Buckeyes somewhere. And, you know, in a perfect world, Rapid City would have signed 25, but this haul of 19 nets them the 11th best class in the nation and the best class by far that they've ever had. Penn State, Clemson, Notre Dame, and Texas A&M round out the top 4 recruiting classes. And a side note here that Galloway's coach prestige now sits at an A+. That should help recruit better going forward. Now, where does everyone play? We've got some athletes to decide on in this class and some others that could move around as well. Cody White flashed at times last season, so there was no way he wasn't finding the field. He moves from free safety to strong to make way for the transfer in Jordan Tolles, and Gerard Martin moves over to free safety. Now, we have 2 athletes to make decisions on, Gary Mumphrey and Colby Woods. Mumphrey has an accurate arm, but with McLaurin, Case, and incoming freshman Charlie Baird shoring up at QB, he isn't needed there. Plus, his coverage skills are just too good to ignore. So Gary moves to corner, where he is instantly at the top of the depth chart with the transfer Preston. The other athlete, Colby Woods, moves to wide receiver, where Rapid City is really just loading up. The freshman immediately could find playing time or could get a red shirt. We'll have to see how training goes for the rest. All right, now speaking of that, who wanted the glory and trained the tail off, and who made YouTube videos about college football imperialism instead? We start, of course, at quarterback, with McLaurin actually moving up to an 89 overall. But man, look at Case behind him with 99 agility and 95 acceleration. Good lord. But the metric that matters is throwing accuracy. And while McLaurin did improve, it isn't by much. His arm is stronger than Case's, just not very accurate. Now, we have a decision to make there, with the freshman Barrage being the most accurate, I believe. We'll get to that later. Okay, let's peek at running back, where we just haven't had the hogs in the trenches to help him. The redshirt freshman Alani Neal worked his tuchus off and lands at the top of the depth chart currently. Colby Burrell is right behind him and has more experience. We'll have to see who gets the start and nod there. Burrell much shiftier and quicker than Neal, while Neal has the better top-end speed. Now, out there, wide receiver is returning senior Cameron Laybourne. Man, he is tiny, 5'9", 162, but look, this guy being the most improved wide receiver, sitting in an 88 now, with awareness off the charts, he still might be in the slot. We'll have to talk about that later. Cloud McFly, Charlie Hall, Jamari Gassett all go up 5 notches, and the transfer Posey moves to an 86. The disappointment here, Ryan Clark. Recruited a few seasons back, the redshirt sophomore has regressed, just pissing away that 96 speed. The man's route running drops 11 points, and his release drops 7. I'm gonna be honest, this guy, he might get cut. But while we're talking about route running, look at Charlie Hall, 90-9. Get him, Charlie. And hey, shout out to Laybourne with hands so nice he could catch field mice. I think that's how that goes. We'll be looking for Trevor Borland to fill the important game breaker role at tight end. The line improves across the board, and man, does this team need that badly. It'd be nice to have a running game this season. Now, CJ Bazile brings his game up to a 78, becoming godlike in awareness and quick off the ball at left end. The redshirt freshman Drake Durant IV could get the start out at right end now. Absolutely terrible awareness on all right ends, though. Really putrid. Out of defensive tackle, everyone improved 4 notches. And Swan Toa, well, he became a god of awareness as well. 2 huge presences in the middle now. Does Rapid City maybe switch to a 4-3 base? Now, a clear weakness of this team is at the linebacker position. They haven't recruited well there, and it continues to be gross as we take a look at redshirt sophomore Kevin Robinson leading the middles, while Fullwood actually ate a few too many Twinkies. You know, gotta call out Robinson's 99 acceleration, though. He could do some damage. That right outside linebacker is returning senior Fabian Waits, by far the best linebacker we have, and he showed that this past season. It's good to have him back for one more go. Out at corner, we may have a logjam foreman. The transfer from Baylor improved the most, sitting at an 86 overall. Yeah, it's good to see McCormick improve, even if it was just a little bit. We might still move him, I'm not sure. And disappointing is Lawrence Burns. This guy was an All-American and doesn't improve. Man, you make me sad, Lawrence. You're making me sad. Now, out of free safety, another transfer sits up top, with Jordan Tolles cementing himself as the starter. Jalen McNair at strong safety improves and actually surpasses the sophomore Cody White. Another disappointing result is Cody White made plays last season. Another 99 awareness god in McNair, though, so he's gonna have to be on the field, I think. Now, the kicker got better, but Ramart's power still a lowly 70. Not gonna lie, the punter may be kicking field goals this year, as Gurman is out here with an 88. Now, if you think someone should move somewhere else, let me know in the comments, but let's move on now to cuts. We've got to get rid of 8 freaking guys. Now, the first one to go, Yannick Ogunlade. Ogun? You know what I'm trying to say. The junior right guard was simply death. Now, speaking of death, here come the corner cuts. Redshirt sophomore Chad Brown, you gotta go. Redshirt sophomore Andrew Rhodes, you gotta go too. All right, now this cut kind of hurts. We talked about how disappointing it was that he regressed so badly with his 96 speed just being pissed away. Well, goodbye Ryan Clark. Maybe you can use that speed to run your ass out of the school. Next up is junior left end Chris King. I hate cutting upperclassmen, but it just doesn't make sense to keep him. With this cut, Rapid City loses New Jersey as a pipeline too, which makes it even tougher. At defensive tackle, Floyd Dozer says goodbye. The redshirt junior would never see the field. All right, 2 cuts left. One of those is running back All J Henderson, another junior that was just not going to see the field the rest of his time in Rapid City, so you got to go. The final unlucky guy to get cut is Hard Wreck Parker. Redshirted last season and just didn't improve like we hoped. Loved his name, not his game. And as mentioned earlier, Rapid City is moving to the Big. That change completely changes the Big divisions. Take a look here. And yes, that team that's blurred out, or maybe I edited it in because I hadn't changed it yet in the data, is Fargo University. You will be introduced to them soon. They are a protected rival for Rapid City moving forward. You'll also notice that Michigan moves to the West Division to balance out how heavy the East was. So who went to the MAC? Sorry, Illinois. Take the Illabuck with you if that helps ease the pain. And finally, let's throw some red shirts on some guys, shall we? That speedy running back we beat Ohio State out for, red shirt for Bills, as we don't need him out there this season. And at wide receiver, Willie Parker also gets a red shirt along with Colby Woods. Again, we're deep there and they're just not needed yet. At center, throw one on Freeman, so we'll have 3 red shirt sophomores next season. That makes a lot of sense. Freshman left end Sean Green and Kadas Ruffin both get red shirts. Freshman defensive tackle Joshua Cohen can sit a year. Tyrone Fullwood, after your disappointing offseason, you get a red shirt to get right. At corner, you knew some were coming, so Coleman, Collins, you're both getting red shirted. Next, one of my favorite names in the incoming class, Osvelt Ham. Unfortunately, we won't be calling your name this year. All right, I saved this for last because it was the hardest decision, and I'm not sure Galloway is sold on it. Freshman, Charlie Barrage, the most accurate QB on the roster, but overall, the 3rd stringer and the slowest. McLaurin will get his chance to really take this team to new heights, but Galloway will burn that red shirt if he feels like he has to. After all, that's how McLaurin got on the field anyway. So, are you curious how Rapid City's first big schedule looks? Well, let's take a look at the gauntlet, shall we? Rapid City will get to show off their newly built stadium against Texas week 1, and they'll host number 19 Florida State and number 15 USC the 2 weeks following. They'll travel to the Big House to take on number 1 Michigan in week 7, and the week after go to Camp Randall to face the number 12 Badgers. Finally, in week 12, they'll take on their new rivals, the Fargo University Asteroids. For what it's worth, Rapid City begins the season ranked 38th in the nation, while Fargo sits at number 33. Preseason All-Americans? Let's talk about it. Swan Toa at defensive tackle makes first team, while Charlie Hall makes the second team. Now, All Big sees quite a few more, with Laybourne and Hall taking the wide receiver spots on the first team, while CJ Bazile and Swan Toa grab defensive spots. Anthony McLaurin is your second team All Big QB, while Fabian Waits, Michael McCormick, and Cody White grab some spots on the second team defense. And the outlook for Rapid City is the best it's ever been, with all sub 50 ranking projections, and they always overachieve anyway. And hey, if you were curious, the Tar Pit is now the 58th toughest place to play, and that may be set to change with the larger crowd this season. Before I end this video, I just want to say thank you for sticking with this dynasty. I know there aren't many of us here, but it means a lot to have some people watching this and commenting and hanging out in the Discord and just having fun with Rapid City. With that said, be prepared for some experiments in how the games are presented this season. Y'all know I'm constantly up in production value. And with that, I also want to get games to you faster without sacrificing quality. So you'll see some experiments this season. Now, the week 1 video will have Rapid City versus Texas in the new Tar Pit Stadium. Fargo does not have a game week 1, so you won't get to see them right away. You'll see them when they actually have a game. Remember, if you've got names you want to get in the recruiting pool or on the Fargo team even, let me know. It's not too late, and I will get them in where I can. No promises on position, though. I'm really just trying to get your names in where I can get them in. All right, get those comments down below. Let me know what you're looking forward to the most this season, or if you think somebody should move positions. Let me know all that down there. And if you just are enjoying the Dynasty, of course, just like the video. Help this poor channel out. Come on, man, help me out. Hit that like button. All right, y'all, I'll see you week 1, Rapid City versus Texas. But until then, go Stegos.